welcome. In today's video, we are going to take a look at this. Now, you might wonder what this is. Well, this is a kits tool from Amazon with all the tools you need to work on your guitars, setup-wise and building-wise and things like that. Now, we're going to take a look and see if that's true, if these are good tools, if this is a good place to start out. I'm going to tell you if you should get one of these, or maybe not tell you if you should get one of these, but I'm going to tell you what I think of it. And hopefully, by the end of it, you can decide for yourself if this is something you want. I know that this is just 30 bucks on Amazon, and that it's really not that expensive, and you get a lot of things for not a lot of money. But if everything is really bad, then why waste the money, even if it's just 30 bucks? To some of you, that's like, whatever, I'll do what I want. But to some of you, it's like, no, I'd rather save that money and buy something better, or just one of those tools for 30, if it means I get quality. I have been using woodworking tools, metalworking tools for a very long time, so I feel like I know when a tool is good and when a tool is bad. So that's what we're gonna look in on this one. I'm not gonna tell you that it's good or that it's bad for the money. I'm gonna tell you whether or not I think it's bad or good. And then you can decide for yourself if you think that it's worth it or not. For example, I'm pretty sure there's a file in this. I haven't actually opened it because I wanted to do it here and now. And I'm going to tell you if I think the file is good. And if I feel like the file is the kind of file that most likely will last a year, then you decide for yourself if you think that makes sense or not to pay 30 bucks for a bunch of tools, but the files will only last a year. And if you know anything about files, for example, you should know that good files will last not only your lifetime, but your children, your grandchildren's. You decide for yourself what sort of level of care you want to give this thing. I haven't opened it. I just received it. The package from Amazon came about 15 minutes ago, and I decided, hey, this is a good way to start the day, sitting here and opening this with you. So we're going to jump into the over camera and open it up together. The first thing we're going to do is just have an overlook, a first impression sort of thing, and then we're going to test the tools out. The metal things for frets, for example, we're going to see if we can find maybe some frets to work on, and the tools for working on knots and things like that, we'll see if we can't find a nut to work on. So first part here will just be a first impression, sort of what I think and what I see when I open this, and then we'll jump into actually working with the tools and see what happens. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the over camera and just open this up and see what we get when we buy one of these. There we have it. Okay, so let's open this up and see what we get. Oh. Okay. So if you need some sort of thing to keep all your tools in, then I would say that that's pretty nice. And there's no real issue here. I mean, it's not super well sewn. You can see like here, it's just, I can probably rip this out without that much problem. But yeah. Okay, so let's start with some of the tools and just go through and see what everything is. We can start off, this is pretty easy. Here is a card that shows like height and things like that. Electric guitar low, electric guitar high, acoustic guitar. It's just, this is meaningless. Like this card is just a piece of plastic. I mean, it's like probably fine for what it is, which is basically this is how you would measure string height. But the thing is, by placing this on the neck like so. And the thing is, like, it doesn't have any like actual measurements. It only has like, oh, well, this is what a string should be. And the thing is, that's not how it works. You're not supposed to have a card that tells you what's good and what's bad. You're supposed to have a card that tells you the actual measurements. So this thing, you can use this side, but you actually kind of want this on the longer side so you can see the length in more spots, like over the entire frets in the middle of the guitar, you know, around the 12th. But I never mind. That one is sort of meaningless, I would say, because If you only have the measurements here, then you can only get a precise spot and not over a longer length. So yeah, and you can make your own one of these without issues. Oh, there's something on the back. String pitch ruler. What? String pitch ruler. The hell? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. String pitch ruler. Never mind. Are these good? Yeah, they're most likely. But these are tools that are not very... These could actually be pretty nice to have. Because you have the ball end here, so you can come in at an angle if you have a truss rod that is a little bit hard to access. And they seem like they're pretty hard. Sometimes you can hold them like this and you can pressure and you can feel that you can like either flex them or actually even bend them. And I don't think I can do that with these. So I'm going to go and say that that first tool is good to get. But if you've ever bought a like first guitar or an inexpensive, beginner guitar, you already have those. And so if you are buying this and that's the only thing that's good, then we're having issues because, buying these that's like nothing. That's if the kit only has those being good, then it's a very expensive kit because you can buy those for less than $30. What is this? Tip cleaner USE for cleaner drill. Something to clean your drill with. Okay. Don't see why you would want that in your guitar kit. Okay, let's see. Oh, wait. Oh, it's these pipe cleaner things that people are using for your better nuts. Okay. I mean, I am pretty sure that these are... You know what? I'm actually not going to comment on this. We're going to come back to it. But I'm going to say, if you're going to use something like this, you most likely you would probably... And I might actually do this, and we could make a video of it if you guys want me to. But I would most likely take these out and glue on real handles, something that lets you have a handle to it, and then write down the thickness of them on the handle so you know exactly how thick they are. Because right now, you would have to sit here and you would have to like go through and be like, oh, well, that's the one I need. And then you're gonna hold it like, it's hard to close, and then you're gonna sit like this and hold it and we go like, and you're gonna be not able to use the entire length of it. And I'm actually, I'll test this on a piece of bone later, but right now I'm gonna say that's most likely not something that you need. You like both the tool in itself, but also the one that's coming in this kit is most likely bad. It would be really cool if you could use one of these, because then you wouldn't have to buy expensive files that are super annoying. Because honestly, the files for slotting a nut are both expensive and also they're sort of the kind of tool that only has one purpose. In woodworking, a lot of tools can do a lot of things. But unfortunately, there are some tools in guitar building that is just good for one thing and one thing only. So yeah, let's see here. What is this? Oh my god. What the hell? That's really... Are you supposed to... Okay, so first of all, I'm assuming this is supposed to be like nippers that you can cut. So it's like, oh, you have 3 tools in one. You have you can tune your guitar winder thing here. Which most likely is gonna work. It's a little... Can you hear that sound? Yeah, it's not very... And then you have this little here for helping you take out the pins on your acoustic, which you don't need one of these tools to do. You're supposed to be able to push the string back. And then here we have a snipper for your strings, so you can cut them, so they're not too long. But like, there's nothing here. There's no edge. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? There's nothing there. It's just 2 metal pieces that have been shaped to look like this. I don't know if I have any guitar strings, so give me a sec. Okay, so just for the purpose of this video, here we have a guitar string, and here we have some snippers, and you can see they have teeth. This is like a G string. So let's see what happens. If we put it in there... Oh, it actually cut it really good. But These are not pliers. And that was a G string, I think. No, actually it was a D string. What am I saying? And I'm pretty sure it won't be like I don't think it will cut acoustic guitar strings with that. At least not like that. The E, the thick E. Anyway, okay, let's see here. Here's a fret rocker, and it is hard. I mean, if you put them in the vise, you're most likely going to be able to bend them. But let's see if it's flat. I'll put it... Because the thing is, this is the kind of tool you need to know that these edges here are perfectly flat, so that you can use these to measure things. And there's like a little bump there, so I would say that I'm going to have to sand this. It's also very rough. This edge here is not that bad, but this one here, like I can use this as a scraper, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if I can find a piece of wood. It's like a bad scraper. Now, I know some of you are saying like, that doesn't mean that it's bad, but you wouldn't want to put something on your guitar that could actually damage it. So this needs to get polished. You need to find a perfectly flat surface, put down some like 1200 grit or something, wet and dry, and just go like that. Oh god, now I scratched up my table. Okay, so I put it up against my vise flat face, and this side here is not flat. So I'm gonna have to sand that back and fix it. The other ones are flat and will work, but that one isn't. So if I used this to level my frets and make sure that they don't rock, I would never be able to do that with this side because it has a little bit of an up bow in the middle. So you would use this and you would never be able to get your frets to work for you, and you would be super frustrated and wonder why you're so bad at fixing guitars, and it's because of this tool. It's just... So I'm gonna say that this doesn't come to you in a working condition, so we'll put it to the side. Okay, so next up we have these guards here, and I don't know, I feel like these are the kind of tool that you could just use masking tape for instead, but we'll take a look and see. Anyway, I suppose it's also like a preference thing, because some of you might want to use this sort of thing instead. Okay, so first off, I can feel the burr on them on one side, which means that if you are going to use these, you're going to have to sand or file off that burr, because it's not going to be that hard to do super quickly with some really high grit sandpaper. But I'm going to have to do that. Again, if this is lying on your fretboard and it's moving a little bit, it will cut in and give you ugly marks. And the point of this tool is that it is, protecting your fretboard. But as it comes, it will damage your fretboard. So I don't know. I'll say that they are unusable as they come, and that you should definitely sand them. But they're not a very high stress. I can definitely break this, and I doubt that these will last very long. They're also, they're probably okay. If you feel like you need those, I've never felt like I need those. I've every guitar up until now, at least, of recording this, I've only used masking tape. I'm not saying that you have to do it my way or that using those are bad. It's a preference thing, I think. But yeah, you do what you want. But as they come, you have to sand back that burr, because if you accidentally put it down the wrong way around, where you're using the dull side, and then you take it off, and you're like, whoa, what happened to my guitar? And especially if you're doing like work for someone else, you really want to be careful about that thing. It's one thing if you're messing up your own guitar and you're like, oh well, I messed up my own guitar. But you're going to be super sad if you buy this kit to work on other people's guitars and you don't sand those things back. Because, the small little things will affect eventually. Because if you're doing 100 guitars every month, the chances that you're accidentally flipping this around and putting the burr side down is really high, because it's just gonna happen. Okay, let's move on. Here we have 3 little files, some sort of diamond file, or at least that's what they look like. I can definitely bend this. So yeah, and also I feel like they are not really on there, maybe, but maybe it's just the first thing. I feel like it's a little bit coming off. Yeah, they are. These are definitely cheap, and maybe you would want something nicer. So I would probably say that these are, they're not very high quality, and they are definitely, I don't think they're gonna last. This is the sort of file that you can't really use with any real force, like if you want to round over a fret or something. But we'll actually put them to the side, because I feel like I'm actually going to try them out. But very first, the impression of them is that they are very inexpensively made and not very high quality. And I feel that my experience, as a small prediction, is if I push too hard with these, then I'll have the file will bend as I'm pushing and not be completely straight. And that's not good. Actually, it is actually a tiny bit crooked already. I don't know if you can see, but the tip here is bending off. Might be easy to see or hard to see. I just feel like it's gonna bend, because I feel like I can bend it like this. Like it's super flexible. And so I feel like it's probably not gonna last. I don't think these files are gonna last a year, to be honest. And yes, sure, in guitar working and setup work, you're not supposed to put a bunch of force, but I mean, you are at some point going to do that anyway, because the reality is that sometimes you're working on something and it's just not, the good things and easy work is just not happening, and you're going to have to put a little bit of elbow grease into it, just because, maybe you don't feel like you should, but that's, reality, if that makes any sense. And that's when those files are going to give in and give up on you and break. And the bad thing about that is they are going to break when you least want them to, and you're going to slip and either hurt yourself by like sticking yourself on them, or by ruining a fretboard or something, just working on a fret and pushing a little bit too hard and snapping in half, and you're flying away with your hand and you're gouging into the fretboard, or you're sticking yourself in the armor, and ugh. So yeah, that's my prediction. Let's take a look at them a little bit later and see if they are better than what they look and feel like. Here's a screwdriver. And it's, it's not actually attached to the handle. I can feel, wait. There's something, okay. You can press it down and take it out, and you have two screwdrivers in one. And that's actually kind of nice, but unfortunately it has a little bit of give, where it's not a perfect match. And it's also kind of sharp. I think I just cut myself on it. Oh well, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, the handle is a pretty like nice handle. You can just take this edge here and sort of, with a razor blade, you can remove this burr. Same thing up here. It has this little edge. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a little bit unsymmetrical, and it has that burr up there, and that's what I just pricked myself a little bit on. It wasn't that bad. I'm not bleeding or anything, but I did feel it. And this mechanism here, where you push this down and you pull this out, like that's a nifty way of giving you two screwdrivers in one. And as a small, tiny little thing, it's probably fine. And especially for like guitar building, this is probably going to work for you. You don't necessarily have to spend that much on screwdrivers, I think. It is not straight, which is, in other works, it's more problematic. But if you look it down the handle, which can I let you do that? But if you look down the handle, you can see how it trails off. So this isn't a very good screwdriver, but I mean, it's most likely going to last. So it's probably not an issue, but yeah, it is what it is. You can also turn this, but it doesn't do anything. So I'll say that this is fine. And yeah, let's take a look at these. Again, these are probably tools that are also going to be fine, because yeah, let's take a look. Now I should check these up against a guitar neck, Well, again, here we have a burr that is sharp enough to damage something, so you will have to take that burr off before you have it anywhere close to a guitar. Let's see here. You get a 20 and a 17 and a 16, 15. That's a little bit excessive. 14, 12, 10, 9.5, and 7.25. Yeah, these are basically all, plus some extra that you need. So that's pretty nice, I would say. You need to sand that off, but it's just a couple of seconds. Make sure you just take the edge off and that you don't ruin the middle, because obviously that would be annoying if you change this radius here. It's no longer usable. But I'm gonna go with that. These are one of the tools that are nice, because you're never gonna really put any stress on these. You don't need to, like, use force with these. They are a little bit, you can definitely bend them, but why would you? So I'm gonna put them to the side and say that that's perfectly fine. It's probably not an issue. So we have a couple of tools here that are okay, and some tools that are questionable. Actually, so far I would say the only thing that is actually really questionable are these. I'm gonna be testing them out in a bit. Also, this edge here, you have to, when you get this, please, you have to try it out and make sure that you put it against something that is flat, and make sure they are 100% flat. Here is probably the reason why you would want to get this kit, because this is the sort of file that you would look at, for example, StewMac or something like that, and go, I need this file and I don't want to spend the money. So you would buy it here. So basically, if this works, the kit is worth it. If this doesn't work, it's not worth it. Basically, is the sort of, again, there are some tools that you just, some tools are just annoying to get. I can immediately feel like this is not a real file. It's not. Like, it's a real file should be forged. This is some sort of pot metal, and it's been put into a mold. I can tell by the way this edge feels, and then how it's sharp here. It's like been stenciled out or something. And then you have the teeth here, frets, and I don't know if this is actually a file, like these are not teeth. That's just, they are not teeth. They are just part of the mold. This sort of, they most likely use those little pipe cleaner things, these, to make it. And it's just basically like, because it has an edge that is a little bit, scrovely or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the word is. It will be able to cut things, just like you could, you could file something with a rock, but it's not the same thing as an actual file. Like if you look at this file, for example, which is a nicer file, like it has teeth. You can feel them when your finger goes over them, that like, oh, they're actually small little, it's not the same thing. I'm sorry that I can't like get you micro pictures of this, but you will see it once you hold it. These are they're not actual teeth. They're just like small little ribbles in the metal that will cut because they are there. So I'm expecting this to do a very poor job of anything, and I'm expecting it to not really work. And if it, like, it's gonna, the poor quality of the work that it does, it will do in the, let's say at least the first couple of frets. I don't know if you can do an entire guitar neck before, but yeah, after a while at least, they are just gonna be gone, because it's basically there is no way this is harder than your frets. That's sort of the issue. You can't use soft like metal to shape harder metal. You have to have the tool be the hardest metal, and you shape softer metal. So yeah, we're gonna jump into testing these, because I feel like that's one of those things that we have to test. We have 3 tools that I feel like we have to test. Here we have a small ruler as our last thing. It's just a tiny little ruler thing, and it comes in this little thing. Let's see if we can get it out without ruining this flimsy little package. And this is, let's see here. First, we have a side with millimeters. We have 15 millimeters. That's pretty nice, because it's a good quality length to have. I'm not saying that this ruler necessarily is good because it's almost like a paper thin thing, but it could be kind of nice to have. Then on the other side we have inches, and it says it's stainless, but I don't think it is, because it just feels too flimsy. But it's not very sharp or anything like that. I mean, obviously the corners, but for just small measurements, I think that could be fine. I'm gonna put it up against another ruler to see if all the millimeters line up, because sometimes you get rulers and the millimeters aren't actual millimeters, they're, you know, something else. And so that's why it would be good, and I suggest you get another ruler that is a little bit higher quality, so that if you buy something like this, you can actually just put them up against each other like this, and you can check them to see if they're accurate. And yeah, this is not accurate. This is about 0.2 or something like that. I'm not going to measure it and actually, you know, get the actual one, but I can definitely tell that they're not lining up. If I put the 0 to the 0, then they're slowly getting off more and more and more the further down I get. And yeah, by the 15th, we're off with almost half a mil, because it's just tiny little. So I don't know. That's a shame, I would say. So we have our first tool that I would say, no, don't use this, throw it away. Get yourself a nice, more expensive ruler. It would be nice to have a small little ruler that is super thin, that is this size. So it is a good idea, but it's not executed very well. Let's give it a number. That one gets 0 out of 5. These gets 4 out of 5, because they're probably gonna work. I don't see a reason to think that the radius is wrong, but you do have to sand back this edge. This one gets a 3 out of 5, because I'm gonna have to fix this and sand it, and that could actually be problematic. And I don't. What's the point of a tool if it's not accurate? This one gets 4.5. It is a little bit crooked, but I don't think it's gonna matter that much. It's perfectly okay-ish. This card gets a, I don't know. It gets a question mark because I feel like it's probably, you know, actually we can measure this one as well with our ruler to see if these millimeter will line up, and that will tell us. So let's just do that real quick. And they do. So this one is actually good. So I'm gonna say that it's still like just giving me some side measurements. There's just like, this is good, you know. It's pointless. You can make your own. Just print it out. These are also like 4 out of 5 or something, because they're probably gonna work for you. You're gonna be able to use them for what you're supposed to use them for, but you need to sand that burr off, and it's kind of like you're buying a tool that is not finished. This is a 4 out of 5, I think, of 3 actually, because it's definitely should have some sort of in-between mechanism that makes it a little bit better to use, and you know, you can hear the sound. This is clearly cheap plastic. It's not going to last very long. It's inexpensive and poorly made. So 3 out of 5. But it's most likely going to work for you a little bit. At least the string winder part. I'll give these 5 out of 5, just because I don't think you will necessarily have any issues with them. I feel like if you put this into a truss rod and you have to crank it and it's so hard to move that you actually bend these or break them, because they are pretty hard, then I would say that you have other issues than these, and that you have a neck that there is something wrong with. These files, I'll give them a 2, because I'm not pressing very hard right now, and I can just tell you that if I just tried to break this in half, it would be very easy for me to do. And I feel like they're very rough, so you're not going to be able to get like a nice finish. We'll try to find a piece of metal and use them on. But also, like for example, if this is supposed to be on your frets, which side are supposed to go against your neck? Because you usually have 2 sides that have something to cut with, and then you have a flush side that is smooth. And so if I were to use these, I would cut into my fretboard. So I would have to sand this entire side down and make it smooth, which means that, you know, you get an unfinished tool. And the same thing goes with these. Like this one, why would you, where would you use this, and for what would you use it? This is not This is just there so you get 3 files, but you would never use this file. There's nothing in Guitar Building for this. Unless you're doing something special and weird, where you need a tiny file that looks like this, but that's not, you know, common guitars. And the same thing with this, it's just a round file. There's like, these tools are not here because you use them in Guitar Building. They're here because getting these files will make you think that you're buying something that is better. The only thing here that is, you know, remotely like anything you would use in Guitar Building is this one. And this one is, you would need to sand that. So we'll put these to the side because I'm going to count them as extra thing, and we'll check this one out. But right now we're getting it too. I quickly also, because I just forgot about it, because the case was in front, or was over it, lying on top of it. This thing here, I'll give this a 2 as well, because it is a little bit of heavy, but you know, the weight isn't everything. And sometimes you will see people talk about things and they're like, oh, well, this is heavy, you know, nice metal. And it's like, no, it's just a metal that is kind of heavy. It doesn't mean that it's really hard. And it does feel like I can't bend it with just my hands like that. But if I put it into my vise, I could definitely crank it down like that and bend it, which I can't do with any of my real files, you know. So I just wanted to say that too real quickly. I just forgot about it. But anyway, let's find something and try these 3 things out. We're going to try this one out and see what happens. We're going to try this one out, this little file, just on something, see what happens. And we'll try this one out on something and see what happens. And yeah, here I have a guitar neck. You've all probably seen it if you've been subscribed for a while. It's not finished because I have so much other things to do, and I should work on this a little bit. But it is in a very rough stage. It needs a little bit of everything, basically. So I was thinking we would try some of these tools out. Now, first off, let's go with this one, because I know that this is probably the reason why anyone would look at this, because they're like, ooh, this file I need. First of all, if you think you need one of these files, you don't. There are plenty of other tools you can use to do this. And I have videos showing you a bunch of these sort of things, so, you know, watch some of my build series, like when I did the Jimi Hendrix guitar, or the Mike Bloomfield guitar, or something like that, and you will see that I don't really use these sort of things. But anyway, you're supposed to go over the file like this, and can you hear anything? It's not... Something is happening, but what is happening? Because I can't tell. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, I'm taking chunks out of the fret. It's gonna be super hard for me to show you. Damn it. Can you see the lost, look at this lost fret, and you can see, like before, it was an even shape. But if you look at it right there, you can see like how there's a little bit of a like chunk taken out of it. That's not supposed to happen. It's super disappointed. I think you can see it if you look real closely at that fret. That means that this file is not just doing a bad job, it's doing something even worse, which is damaging your frets. I am gonna have more work. I'm not gonna do this anymore than one fret here, because I don't want to have to work on, yeah, this tool. This is gonna hurt you working on guitars, because you're gonna destroy your frets. Part of me wants to just see how long it lasts, but I don't want to go through this entire guitar that I've worked on and actually spent time and energy in trying to make good, just to ruin that work and have to redo it. Because I'm pretty sure that if I tried to do my fret crowning and, you know, round over with this, when I got to the point that I had done it and removed all the black marker, whatever, you know, however you do it, I'm pretty sure by the end, if I did that with this, I might actually have to replace the frets again, which I'm not super into the idea of doing. So I'm just gonna say this one is not good. Don't use this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy this kit, but if you buy it, don't ever use this file. I know I could use one of those metal things, but I need to sand them first before I put them down on anything, and I really don't want to risk it, so I'm just gonna do my masking tape. And masking tape isn't that expensive. And it's also not, it doesn't, you know, you're not going to waste that much. Okay, so I've already rounded these frets over, but I'm just going to try with this one. I'm going to try to be really careful because I don't have an edge to rest on. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. The light is in the wrong place. Let me see if I can do this. Can you see those small little things that are falling off? Those are not shavings, or whatever you want to call it, from the frets. That's not the fret being sanded down, because nothing's happening to the fret. That's the file breaking. Like, I have a bunch of... Like, it looks like a diamond file, and I can't tell you that it's not a diamond file, but I don't think it is. If I look at the end of this fret here, which is super hard to show you, it just looks dull and scuffed up and sort of messy. It doesn't... I haven't really changed it. I'm gonna find something else because I don't want to ruin this neck. Okay, so here I have a bridge for a Strat that is probably gonna go in the bin. One of those cheap and not very good. You know, you can see this edge here, for example, is not very good. Anyway, I'm just gonna go back and forth on this, you know, like this, and we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna speed this up for you. You know, I'll do it for like 2 minutes or something, and we'll look at the file afterwards. So let's go down a little bit. Okay, so here is the file right now. I hope you can see it and what it looks like. That's the other side, and let's just start. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so first of all, this is rougher now than it was before. This bridge had a little bit of a burr here, and it, you know, it's not gone. So if you're gonna use it to remove something, then yeah. Okay, let's look here. I mean, I don't see a difference, and I don't think you're gonna see a difference either from the two sides. But I can feel a difference. Like this one here is a lot rougher, and this side, it feels almost smooth. Like if this was a 60 grid, then this is, you know, 120 or something, or maybe even finer. So yeah, I've already basically worn this out. You know, like another use like that on this side, and it's not going to be anything. So I don't know. I'm going to say that the files you get are not good, and that you should buy better files. You don't have to spend that much more to get better quality. Obviously, this is $30, and buying, you know, one file for $30 means you don't get all the other things. But if you buy this because you want the files, I don't think you should buy it. If you buy this because you want everything else and not the file, then that's a completely different, you know, question. But the files you get in this, they're not even files, you know, because they don't have any of the traits that you need to have to be a file. You know, it's sort of like a rat is not a dog, you know. Okay, so lastly, let's open up this and take a look. I'm gonna quickly see if I can find something that we can use, but we might just have to take a blank piece of bone and cut into it. These should be able to work on bone in order to be worth a while. If they can't, they can't, and then we just won't use them for anything, because I feel like bone is the standard nut material. So let's use these on bone and see what happens. So here I have a piece of bone. It's not a nut, but it's roughly the size. And so I feel like if we can cut into this with this, it's gonna be good. But first of all, it is clearly not a tool for this, and it's very flimsy. So, you know, if you can cut, that's one thing, but if you can do a good job and be accurate is another. Which is not something that I'm going to be able to demonstrate right now, but I can tell you already that if this can cut in and actually be useful, we really should take this apart and make a handle for each. But yeah, let's start off by seeing if we can. Yeah, okay, it's already over. Okay, so I made a dent that is maybe, what could that dent be? It's like a half a mil maybe? And I can feel with my thumb on this that the side of the tool that I used to cut is now completely smooth. So that means that after, I don't know how long I did that for, a couple of seconds. Yeah, so after a couple of seconds, it's not good. It would be really cool if they worked. And I think that if you have a neck or a nut and it needs just a little bit of adjustment, then it probably will work, to be fair. But to cut the entire slot, it won't work for that. And you would most likely have to replace it fairly often. Like if you can find a bulk on like eBay or something like that, where you can buy these and get, I don't know, let's say 100 for a couple of bucks or something like that, so that you can like use them and throw them out, and you know, every guitar you use a new one or something, then that's, I don't know what to say, because I mean it's very use and throw out sort of mentality, which is maybe not a very good, like for environment things or something. It's probably not good for that, but it would probably work, technically, like work. But yeah, I think that just buying files and sanding them down and shaping them and making them into something that works for you is better in that case, because you can buy, you know, smaller files, you know, a set of these sorts of files. Like go to any hardware store and you can find smaller files like this, or it's probably better. And the thing is, if you, as long as you have teeth on one side like this, you can sand down the sides to the right thickness that you need and make your own set of files to cut a knot on. And you know, if you want to, I could make a video making those files, just, you know, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so final thoughts on this thingamajig that I'm holding here. There are some things in there that I feel like if you get those, you can use them, and with a little bit of extra finessing, they're perfectly fine tools to have. So yeah, maybe it's worth getting. You decide for yourself. But if you buy the kit for the reason that these three tools are in them, and these are the things you need, and those are the tools that, you know, are annoying to have to get because it's, you know, more guitar related than other things you already have, then I would say don't buy this, because those are the three things that are not worth anything in this kit. They are so bad, you're not gonna enjoy yourself. This thing will not cut anything for very long, so you'll have to buy 100 of these if you're gonna do any sort of guitar work, and especially if you're gonna do more than just a little bit of cleanup. Sure, if you have a guitar and you just want to fix it up a little bit and just remove half a mil or something like that in the nut slots to just bring down that little bit, so that so it's more comfortable, then you can buy one of these and use it and throw it out afterwards. But if you're, I don't know, thinking that you can buy this and use it to set up a bunch of guitars and you know, work on guitars and do it for other people, then I would say it's probably not a smart idea to buy this, because you could put those 30 bucks, you know, you could save that money and use it to buy better tools. And yeah, sure, those tools are more expensive, but you know, in the long run, you're gonna get things that pay for themselves, basically, if you're thinking business-wise. This file is not a file. Sure, it has a groove here with some sort of shape that does cut a little bit, but it's not teeth. It's not like actual teeth on a file. So don't get this. And also, you don't actually need to have one of these files. Like, you can learn to use a regular file with one side that is smooth out to do your round over. Maybe if you guys want to, I can make a video showing you that process and tell you how to do it, but basically then you can just buy a regular file in any hardware store. Because really what you need is a file that has a smooth side on one of the shorter sides and teeth on the broad sides. And you need a fine tooth metal file, and that's it. You don't like these guitar tools that are like specially made for guitar building. They are not necessarily completely what you might think they are. These files are really bad. They are not files. They're made out of like zinc or something. Like, it's just, I don't want to break it because I don't, I don't think it's a good thing to destroy things. I'm against, the whole idea of, buying things, destroying them, and then throwing them out. And I don't want to do it just to prove a point in a video. But I can definitely, I can break this. It's so easy. And yeah, I'm never gonna use it, so but just look, that was like no force at all. And I'm gonna bend it back, but the other tools will be a good, not a good, but it will be an okay place to start out. I'm not gonna say that they are very, very good. You can get those, and you can sort of fix them up a little bit, but do make sure that you do make sure they work before you use them. Stuff like taking off the burr, making sure these angles here, that all the sides are actually flat. You're gonna have okay tools to start out, except for those three, obviously. Anyway, I hope that helped. Let me know in the comments below if it did, because that's the point of the video. If you buy these tools and you're happy, awesome, good for you, but then you probably got something else than I did. Most of these, quantity-wise, are totally fine. Some of them I would really recommend you stay away from. And I can understand if you see this sort of kit and you get like excited and like, ooh, I get the file I need for my nuts. Ooh, I get the file I need for my frets. Ooh, yes. Good. It's the one thing I don't have. But then I would say just find ways to work around not having those tools and save your money until you can or afford higher quality ones. Or, do like I did and is get used to not using those tools and working around them, and then you don't need to buy them ever because you found other ways to do the thing you need to do. That's the end of the video. That's the end of the rant. That's everything I think I wanted to say. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new here, press the subscribe button, please. And if you liked the video and this was helpful, press the like button. You can talk to me in the comments if there is any questions you have about any of the tools. I'll see you in the next video. And until next time, stay awesome and cool. And go and do some setup work on one of those guitars that you really love, but that just isn't playing perfectly the right way it's supposed to. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? Good. Bye-bye.